Welcome to the Guinness Corporate Coffee Mornings. My guest is Dr. David Lowe, and he's the new Chief Revenue Officer for CPJ Limited. So, I understand that CPJ is spreading its wings.
Yes,
and you do export some of the stuff you manufacture. Tell me a little bit about that.
sure. As I mentioned previously, our plan for growth is really to be able to expand not just CPJ for other revenue streams, but also to extend brand Jamaica.
Right.
In so doing, we are very proud to be the first company, Jamaican company, to export commercial quantity of pork-based products. And this is something that's not widely known or recognized, but we take this first as a very important step.
And where do you export that to now?
We started with St. Martin as our first target market. We have now extended to St. Lucia, where we've now set up an actual operation, an affiliate company in St. Lucia, where we will be working with a local partner and moving through in the same business model that we have here, through a retail and a hospitality trust.
So there is no CPJ location in St. Lucia?
There is a CPJ operating company.
In St. Lucia?
Correct.
And do you export some of the processed eggs or juices as well?
All of our portfolio is being exported in phases. We're looking at exporting our meats on the CPJ brand and label, which would include our different types of protein, which is whether it's from pork origin or beef origin. We're also looking at certainly liquid eggs as a possibility. Our Caribbean is also part of what we want to push as brand Jamaica. And of course, we'll have a few agency brands that will be there. But the primary thing, as I mentioned before, is that we believe that our growth is going to be tied to also extending brand Jamaica, being recognized as a product not just of Jamaican origin, but a product of Jamaican quality.
I'm glad you mentioned that, because you know we hear about export or die every day.
Yes.
So where else in the region are you planning to spread your wings? Are you going into Trinidad, for example?
We have a strategic plan, and of course I wouldn't disclose what the next steps are going to be in terms of which markets, but certainly we have about 7 countries that we've identified as target markets within the region. And they're being phased for a very specific reason. There's going to be a different operating model in each place. We'll either have trading relationships or we'll have a presence there. But the primary thing is that we're prioritize where we think we're going to get the best traction based on relationships, where we think we have the best execution based on the team that we have on the ground or we can leverage from Jamaica. But the most important thing is that the plan is based on a strategic build-out. And we want to make sure that part of that strategy means that it's also the one that is going to give you the best return on investment.
I see.
We also believe that as we continue to grow with that as an objective, we are very, very keen to make sure that whatever we are doing now is not going to be at the threshold of what we hope to do with our export plan, but we are trying to incorporate a lot more Jamaican-made products. For example, as I mentioned before, the fact that we have agency brands, they must be seen as both overseas and local, because we think that there's an opportunity to take small, high-quality players on board with us, to be part of our portfolio, to then leverage into the Caribbean.
So then, we hear also that we must eat Jamaican and grow Jamaican,
Yes.
but the CPJ market is primarily imported gourmet food market. Don't you have a problem with importing so many things, particularly with the dollar flying the way it's been flying of late?
I understand the question, and it's a very fair question to ask, but the reality is very simple. The nature of our growth path and how we started to supply hospitality markets and even parts of the retail trade was really based on our ability to deliver. And that confidence that all of our clients have is our ability to deliver. Now that's a function of several things, not just our logistics and supply chain, but whoever is supplying us must ensure quality and consistency of quantity to enable us to be the preferred supplier. Now the fact is that we have worked over many years trying to work with a lot of local players and not be unkind to some of the local players, but the reality is the economies of scale that are available initially from some of these small players is not there. But that does not bar us or prevent us from thinking that where there's an opportunity for us to work with a local player in a niche opportunity, we do it. And we have many, many examples of how we've done that.
Okay.
If you even look in our CPJ market, as you mentioned, it's two key parts to that customer-facing market. The market itself is obviously primarily dry foods, while delis, of course, prepared foods.
Right.
In the dry food section, we have representation of a lot of local players. Outside of our manufactured products that are in the cold box, which are the meats and the protein, we have a lot of small niche players that we are very happy to display their products, and it actually sells.
So next time I go, I should take a closer look at the locally manufactured range.
Absolutely.
Locally manufactured goods.
Take, for example, Eaton. We have very, very active selling space for Eaton, who's a local manufacturer of sauces, as well as a lot of other niche products.
Okay.
On the deli side, just to round off my answer, we have a lot of people who produce locally made pastries, dishes, and we're very proud to have them as part of our offering as a Jamaican supplied product.
Okay. All right, so when we come back, I'm going to talk to you about the exciting part of CPJ,
Sure.
and that's crew bar.